Let's talk about two words we throw around all the time: illness and disease. We tend to use them like they mean the exact same thing, but what if they don't? As we're about to see, the difference between them isn't just wordplay. It's actually at the heart of a really passionate debate. So let's get into it.
I mean, think about it. You've probably done this, right? Said you had an illness when you meant disease, or vice versa. It's super common. But what if there's a really important difference between how you feel when you're sick and what's medically, physically happening inside your body? That's the core idea we're going to unpack.
Okay, so first up, let's talk about illness. And if there's one word you need to remember for this part, it's subjective. This is all about your personal, unique experience of feeling unwell.
So here's the thing about an illness: it's defined by your feelings. It's that sense of pain, or maybe just a general feeling of being off that doesn't always come with the clear doctor-identified reason. You just know something feels wrong, but you can't necessarily point to a lab test that proves it. It's your experience.
Now, let's flip the coin. If illness is subjective, disease is meant to be the objective, measurable side of things.
A disease, on the other hand, is an actual physical malfunction happening in your body. There's an identifiable cause for it, something like a virus or bacteria that a doctor can actually find and name. It's the underlying problem that might be causing that feeling of illness. But for all their differences, they do have one thing in common. Both illness and disease are troublemakers. They both come in and disrupt your body's natural state of balance. And there's a fantastic word for that balance: homeostasis. It's that stable state our bodies are always working so hard to maintain. So you could say both illness and disease are a sign that homeostasis has been lost. So let's put them side by side. You've got illness, the subjective feeling, the personal experience, where the cause might be a total mystery. And then you have disease, the objective condition, the physical process, usually with a known cause. Seems pretty clear, right? Simple enough? Well, this is where it all gets complicated. Because it turns out this neat and tidy distinction is, well, it's not settled at all. In fact, if you look at the discussion around this topic, you find a really passionate debate about whether these lines are so clear-cut, especially when we start talking about mental health. For example, take this comment from a reader named Alessis. They basically say, hey, this distinction is a little too simple. They argue that the words really can be used interchangeably, and they make the bold claim that all mental illnesses are, in fact, brain diseases. And just like that, the whole conversation blows wide open. Suddenly, we're forced to ask some really tough questions. Are mental struggles just physical diseases of the brain? And what does that mean for our definition of disease? Does something need a physical invader, like a virus, to count? How can you have a disease if you don't even know the cause? And then you get a completely different take. Another commenter, Rob, comes in strong, saying mental illness is not a disease. He argues there's no clear biological proof and that modern research points more towards psychosocial causes, like trauma. And another person, Staff, brings up a really practical angle. Think about it. If mental illnesses are really brain diseases, shouldn't neurologists, brain doctors, be the ones treating them? Why do we even have the separate field of psychiatry? It really shines a light on this huge divide in how we even approach these conditions. So what we're left with are these three competing ways to look at mental health. Is it a brain disease, something for a neurologist? Is it a mental illness, handled by a psychiatrist? Or is it a psychosocial condition, something a therapist or counselor helps you work through by looking at your life and experiences? Each one points to a different cause, a different specialist, and a totally different treatment path. Okay, so at this point you might be thinking, this is an interesting argument, but it's just semantics, right? Who cares what we call it? Well, it turns out it matters. A lot. This is way more than just an argument over words. The language we use has massive, real-world consequences. Calling something a disease versus an illness can completely change the stigma around it. It sets the boundaries for doctors and therapists. It can literally determine whether someone gets medication or talk therapy. And maybe most importantly, it shapes how we understand the very root of our own struggles. Ultimately, what this whole debate really shows us is a pretty profound truth. The words we choose aren't just labels. They are the building blocks of our reality. Language literally shapes how we see health, how we see ourselves, and how we see each other. And that kind of leaves us with a final question to think about. If this line between illness and disease is so blurry and so up for debate, what power do we have in the words we choose for our own experiences?
If you change the label you use for something you're going through, does that actually change how you see yourself? It's a powerful idea and definitely something worth mulling over. Thanks for digging into this with me.